Hello friends, this is Tisha from Meadows and Mortar by Tisha, and today we are going to make a Taylor Swift jewelry box. So the first thing that we do after we give it a good clean and then a good rinse off with some water is I use my Paint Couture 2-in-1 primer. This is a bonding primer and a blocking primer, so it'll grip really well to this jewelry box, and then it'll also block out any tannins that there might be that'll come through. Most of the time whenever I'm using my primer, I do 2 coats, but on this one I just used 1 because I was really just using it for a base coat. I didn't think that I really actually needed the primer. So after I get that on, I'm using Paint Couture's Extreme Guard as my decoupage medium. So I'm just taking it and I'm putting it evenly all over the surface where I'm wanting to put my decoupage paper. Now this decoupage paper that I got it from PBJ Prints, but unfortunately they have went out of business now. I'm not sure where you could find one that's similar. I know that Zazzle has a lot of good images if you'd like to choose from there, if you're looking for particularly Taylor Swift. But if you're not looking for Taylor Swift, then I highly recommend using Whimsical Designs. They have some excellent decoupage papers and a very good variety. They have florals, they have funny stuff, they have animals, they have anything that you could want other than Taylor Swift. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just wanting to make sure that my placement of Taylor is right on this box. So I want to make sure that I'm not cutting off any important parts. I don't want to put a seam straight through her mouth. I don't want to cut off her eyes or anything like that. So I was wanting to make sure that her head was visible. So you saw whenever I right before I put the decoupage paper on, I misted the back of it with some water. What this is going to do is it's going to expand the fibers in the back of that paper, and once that it comes in contact with my Extreme Guard, it's not going to cause wrinkling. A lot of times if you put a dry paper on top of a wet surface, that's whenever you get more wrinkles. I have found that as long as I mist my paper first, that I'm much less likely to get some wrinkles. Now the edges of these different drawers on here, they have little curved surfaces, so you saw me just take my fingers and just gently press into those surfaces. Once I'm getting it to where it is laid straight and it's where I'm wanting my final product to be, then I'm going to come in with some more of that Extreme Guard and I'm just going to go over the top of it, and that's going to sandwich it all in. Then you want to make sure that you leave it a pretty good while for it to dry. I usually wait overnight. So I come back the next morning with a razor blade and I'm just cutting off the excess. So you want to make sure that you cut around the edges of it. You want to go in between each one of these drawers, and then once that you finish that, then you can actually open up all of the drawers and then cut off any excess that may still be there. Once that I had all of it on the drawers, I realized that I felt like the rest of her legs needed to be there, so I take out that last drawer and then I do the same exact thing that I did before with my decoupage. I'm laying down my Extreme Guard, that's my decoupage medium this time, and then I'm going to spritz the back of the paper, make sure that it's good and pliable, and then I'm going to put it on there and then just use my fingers to work it into each of those grooves. Then I just fold it under the very bottom of this and then I just let it dry. After it dries completely, then I can come back in and just take a razor blade and finish it off. So now I'm using Paint Couture paint in the color Dance Party. Now you'll look at this and you're going to say, oh my god, that looks god awful. But the thing about neons is, neons in any company, it doesn't matter what brand that it is going to be a translucent type paint. And right here you can see after 1 coat, that is not very good coverage, and that is not something that is just with Paint Couture paint. This is any neon brand that you use. Some of them have more coverage than others, but they're still translucent no matter what the company says about it. The reason why is because whenever they are making these paints, to be able to make them this vibrant, they cannot use a white base as the paint color, because if they use a white base, then it's going to tone it down and they can't get the vibrancy that they need. So with neons, they come in with a clear base and then they add the product in. So that's why it's more thin. It usually takes 4 coats or so to get a good coverage with the neon paints. So you saw I took the glass part out and I used some of that looking glass spray and I put it on there, and then I had this grand idea. I want to use my neons to put on as my backing, so I want to get a little bit of pink pop through there, and it didn't work. So then I come back in with black. I just use pitch black from Paint Couture paint, and then I come over that pink once that it's dried. That's going to give us the really authentic antique mirror look to it. Good Lord, I had a frog in my throat there for a second. Now we're back on track. So you want to make sure that you just take that pitch black and you're going to put it all over the back of this. This is just going to make the mirrored image look more authentic and vintage. You're not going to be able to see through it anymore. It's going to look really pretty. It's going to give you like that, so almost just like a silvery, dark kind of look to it. So now I'm coming back in with more of that same pink color, and I'm just putting this gently all over this. Now I'm going to take a little bit of Fountain of Youth, which is a blue color, and this is still in the neon range, and I'm just putting this around the edges of it. Now remember, blue and pink make purple, right? So I'm wanting to make a soft purple color with this. And you can see in the picture of Taylor that's on the front of this, there's a lot of pink and a lot of purple in it. There are some slight blue tones in it as well, so that's why I went ahead and pulled in this blue, so if I do have some of the blue pop through, it's still going to go with the theme. I was afraid that if I just used the purple that it wouldn't really match Taylor's outfit that much. So once that I get all of this around the edges of it, then I'm just using a circular motion to kind of blend these two colors together. Once that I do that, then I'm going to come back with a forward motion, a backwards motion. You'll see me go side to side. Sometimes I go diagonally, and I'm just wanting to mesh these two colors together. I don't want you to be able to see where one color starts and one color stops. So once that I get through blending those together, then I'm going to come in with a dry brush. This has absolutely no product on it. And I'm coming through and I'm just feathering everything together. This is going to give me that nice final blended finish, and you're not going to be able to see where the different colors actually are. They really do blend in seamlessly. Then I see that it's not quite as vibrant as I want now that I have mixed them together, so I'm coming in with a little more of that blue and mixing it in on the very, very front lip of this, just to give it a little more of a concentrated color. So then I'm doing the same thing everywhere else. I'm just adding more of the pink all over, and then I add some of the blue to the edges, and then I'm just blending it all in. And if you have stuck with me this long, thank you so much. And I just want to ask that if you have not already, if you don't mind, just subscribe to my channel. You never know what kind of stuff that you're going to get on here. If you haven't already, like this video, give me some interactions, talk to me on here so we can learn and grow together. Also, if you like any of the products that I am using here in this video today, then if you'll just pop down into the description box, then I will post a link for the Paint Couture products. It's not going to cost you any extra if you decide to use my link. All it does is let Paint Couture know that you decided to buy a product because of a video that you watched from me, and they just give me a little thank you for that. As you can see, the glass is still out of the front of this, so I can work really easily with trying to blend in on these little spots on the front. But I'm doing the same exact thing, putting the pink all over, then I'm adding my blue, and then I'm just meshing it all in together. Once that this is all done, I'm going to let all of this dry. I think I let it dry for probably, 8 hours or so that day. Then I come back in with some of the blue again, and I'm using my mister bottle on the side, and I'm using just a little silicone tool. You could use a paintbrush, you could do whatever you wanted to do. I'm just trying to get a few little drips and just get some more color variation in here. These little silicone tools, you can get these at Amazon, you can get them from Hobby Lobby, you can get them at Walmart, but the ones at Walmart are shaped just a smidge differently. But I'm just taking some of this blue, I'm putting it pretty concentrated at the top. I'm using my mister bottle before and after, and you can see I get some of those good drips coming down. So then I take a little piece of paper towel or tissue, whatever you want to use, and then I just blot it off. So I am going to be doing layers of this. So I'm going to be doing different colors, and this blue, I'm just wanting it to be my base color. It doesn't need to be uniform. It doesn't need to be super, super drippy. You just do however you want. I decided to do this drippy part on here because I felt like it needed more color, because Taylor's outfit in this particular decoupage paper had a lot more of the blues and pinks in it, and there was actually a little bit of like a vibrant yellow that was in it, so I just wanted to add more. So I come in with that same silicone tool and that same blue, and then I'm just kind of grazing it across the high points of this jewelry box. This is just going to be a base layer. I'm going to be adding more colors to it. So you see me come in with all of these other colors. Here's an orange. I'm doing the same exact thing. I think there's 7 different neon colors from Paint Couture paint, and I just toggle back and forth between them all. I was in a hurry, so I was using my heat gun, about to blow dryer. I was using my heat gun on it to dry a little bit in between each one of these layers, but I'm really wanting it to all peek through. I'm not wanting it to just be one color that's on this. I'm wanting it to be sort of like a 90s fun, funky vibe with all of this. So then I come in with Miss Lillian's Neon Magic, and these are waxes, but whenever they go on, they are translucent-ish, sort of like the neon. So they have some shimmer to them, and there are a million different colors of these that Miss Lillian makes. And I had went to a paint retreat not long ago, and these were free samples that I got in my box. So I was just wanting to try to use them. So I'm just taking this and putting it all over the high points. Anywhere that I had put those multiple colors at on the edges, I'm wanting to take this wax and just put it on there as well. And then I come back in with that brass wax right there, and I'm doing just the same exact thing. I'm just feathering it over the same spots that I did the other one. And guys, here is the finished product. And look how pretty she is. I can't wait for some girl to get this. I imagine it'll probably be, you know, a teenager, and this would be so cute in her room, and I'm so glad that I got to do it. And thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.